What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thunder Sports Pod. It is JT, and
The stash, kinda.
yeah, shaved it off last week, and now he is growing it out again. So it's going to take a little while, but we're going to jump into our first topic of the day. So,
Camera's fucking
building the perfect NFL quarterback attributes game. So, what are you going to choose for your quarterback to build it? What are you going to be choosing here?
So let's see here. What we probably would do: arm, legs for mobility. Probably do vision. So like eyesight or brain. Like you're thinking about your QB, your
Mhm.
build, like how big you want him. Like so you gotta like go with height kind of sense. There's a lot of different things you can take into consideration for this.
Oh, yeah. I'll go ahead and make my list
Okay.
for the attribute of building the perfect quarterback. So, for my body, like athletic build, just the size of the quarterback, I'm gonna go ahead and say Josh Allen because
Josh Allen. Okay.
he's like 6'4", 6'5", like 240, 235. Dude's huge. So, I think having a big frame for a quarterback is definitely an upside rather than a negative, and I would choose Josh Allen for my physical ability or size rather, arm strength. So Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna choose Patrick Mahomes for my arm strength. So far this quarterback's looking pretty good. It's just Josh Allen with Mahomes' arm. So
Already looking good. I mean,
so already starting off pretty good. So for my accuracy, I'm gonna go ahead and say Aaron Rodgers accuracy. So I mean pinpoint accuracy, man. I mean he puts everything in a tight window where he needs it to go. So Aaron Rodgers accuracy. IQ, I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow. He makes zero mistakes. He hardly ever throws a pick. I mean, he is so pinpoint precise with his throwing. I think his IQ is elite. So far, I've got Mahomes' arm, Allen's frame, accuracy for Rodgers, IQ with Burrow. So for legs, I'm gonna say Lamar Jackson.
gosh.
So moving around like Lamar, that would be insane. Having the Mahomes and Allen ability throwing the ball with Lamar on the ground, that's ridiculous. So I would choose Lamar's legs, and then I guess for the next one, I would do durability. So someone that does not miss games. I would
Not
think
Lamar.
not Lamar. Yeah. I would say Kirk Cousins. That man does not miss games, if you think about it. After watching the Netflix series, I mean, he takes a lot of hits. He's hurt a little bit, scuffed up. I'm trying to think of different quarterbacks that, Iron Man. I would think Brett Favre, Eli Manning, but Kirk Cousins is really tough. So I would put Kirk up there for my toughness
Okay.
and my durability. Um, my agility. I would say Justin Fields. He's very agile, running. I mean, he's really fast. I would maybe faster than Lamar, but his legs, I feel like Lamar has better vision than Fields does, just in different lanes, getting open down the field, running the ball. So scrambling, if you will. But Fields' agility, I will take that. So I like my quarterback build.
Okay. I like it. My build's a little different, similar
Hmm.
but a little different. So, so build. I'm going to actually want to go with what's his face. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Jordan Love size, 6'2",
Okay.
6'3" quarterback. I like it a little smaller actually.
Hmm.
I feel like the body shape makes it a little more agile on that sense.
Hmm.
Arm, I'm going Justin Herbert. I think he's got actually
Ooh.
a little
Okay.
stronger arm than Mahomes. Not by much, but I do think, yeah, I do. Like if they were to sit and throw the ball, I think Justin Herbert's going to throw the ball further.
Mm.
Now that's just straight arm, like just throwing the arm. I'm not saying like the side arms like Patty or anything like that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying just straight power. I'm just going with Herbert on it.
Hmm.
Um, my mental focus, I like the Joe Burrow pick. I thought about using Joe Burrow, but that's actually where I'm taking Patty at.
Mm.
I like Patty in stressful situations.
That's very
Uh,
true.
so I'll take Patty on that. On my legs, I'm going Justin Fields actually on the legs,
Okay.
and I'm actually going to take Jalen Hurts on his swiftness, his agility.
Mm. I like that a lot. That's really good. Um, What? So, do you think your player would be the GOAT? Do you think he would break every record every win so many MVPs?
He might. He
Yeah.
might. I think he's got a definitely got a shot. I think he's going to be swift. Justin Fields. Justin Fields can run through, like just like Kamara. He can just run down the field.
Mm.
So you got him there. You got and like Joe Burrow. I would have took Joe Burrow if you hadn't picked it there. But I was like, oh, that's why I would take Joe Burrow. I would have probably taken Joe Burrow. Burrow's builds another one that would have been fine. He's like 6'2", 6'3".
Mm.
So that's where I look at in the QB range. Like I don't really like short QBs myself, but that's where I like. That's why I want that little middle ground. I want them too big, too small. I want them like just perfect. Can
I
scramble if
feel
need
you.
be.
Yeah. What about your accuracy, your arm accuracy? Who was that?
Ooh, accuracy. Ooh, that's a good one. You took Aaron on yours, didn't you?
Hmm.
That's what I thought. I thought you took. I'll actually take. I'll take Burrow on accuracy.
Okay.
That's where I'll
That's
take my
good.
take Burrow. His accuracy, I think, will be fine.
Yeah.
I actually got an
That's
idea
good.
for this next time. Just remind me later. I got a cool idea for this.
All right, bet. So we'll move on to who has the best college football mascot of all time. That's a tough one, man. Who a college mascot? Who do you think? When it comes to mind, what is the most iconic? What stands out to you?
What stands out to me? I'm not really a fan of this team. Like I'll watch them if they're on. They're good every couple of years. Like they're good for a little bit, and then they'll slack off. They'll be good for a little bit. Not really big time bowl, but like
Mm,
they've been there a few times over the last last 20 years. So close to it. I'm going Notre Dame and the Fighting Irish.
okay.
The leprechaun.
Okay. Yeah, the little leprechaun. I like that. That's pretty cool. I mean, Notre Dame's history has been prolific over the years of success, and the team, they value their tradition more than everything. So,
If
um,
if you want like an actual mascot,
yeah,
like that's like actually like a guy, I would probably say like I don't know, like probably Puddles Oregon's duck. I think he's kind of cool looking. That'd be another
yeah,
one.
that's true. That's a pretty. Yeah, I like organs. As the best though, that's up for debate. I mean, it's very iconic. So,
My dad would be right here. He'd be like Florida State. Which is theirs is
yeah,
cool. They come out
yeah,
like on
Seminole.
speed
Yeah,
and they stick the.
honestly. That is up there for me. I was trying to think of the most iconic. And there's so many different like cats like Auburn, Kentucky. I mean, you could go on and
LSU.
on for those. LSU. Um, but what stands out to me you know what? I was gonna say Alabama, but they don't have a live mascot. If they had an elephant on the field, I would choose Alabama.
That's fair. That's fair.
If they had a real life elephant, but that would probably cause a lot of problems. Imagine it going into the crowd or like going
Colorado's got a
haywire.
live buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Whenever it ran over people and just sheesh, man, it was insane. But for me, the best mascot, personally, I'm gonna go. This might be a hot take, but Oklahoma State with the cowboy, bro. The cowboy, you just look him up. It's pretty cool. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know it looks pretty neat. Uh, the Oklahoma State. They used to have a pretty good team in like 2015 through 2018. They had like a 3 to 4 year stretch where they were pretty
I don't.
solid,
I
but
don't hate it. I
they
don't
haven't
hate it
really
at
done a
all.
whole lot since. But uh, that's probably up there in college mascots wise. SEC always has pretty good mascots, but
I was
some of
trying
them,
not to be biased on this, so I didn't pick like Albert the Gator. So
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, I'm not gonna pick Florida on this. I'll pick a different team.
some of them are kind of generic and basic. That's why I didn't pick them. But it's pretty unique, the Cowboys. So that's why I went with them from Oklahoma State. I think it's pretty cool and one of the best in the nation. So that's my hot take or my opinion, if you will. But at the end of the day, um, someone else might have a disagreement and say, you know, that the Buckeye, the nut, is the best.
Get it out of here.
It's literally like, what is the Buckeye? What is that brute or whatever his name is?
I don't even know. Get the Buckeyes out of here.
There's-
Buckeyes. Buckeyes are the second team in the college football that are just like the Dallas Cowboys.
Hmm. All right, so college football continued. Who has the best college football theme song? if you had to choose? I'll go ahead and start off.
You may take mine.
Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top. Ooh, Rocky Top, Tennessee. It's Tennessee. You cannot deny this. It is Rocky Top. It's good on Rocky Top, brother. Go ahead and join the good side. You've been on the dark side for too long.
Nah,
It's good over here in Tennessee, man. We're doing good. We're living life. We didn't lose to Utah, so
throwing some shade right now. Yeah.
yeah.
We're down to the dumps right now. You guys get good finally, finally. You guys finally get good. And you're like, yeah, we're the best. I'm like, really? Like, hold your horses, all right? You're calling
Yeah.
me out because my team lost this year to Utah, but like, let me check. When was the last time you guys won a national title?
Hey, 98, baby. I
98.
wasn't born. I
You
was
weren't
not
even
born.
born for it. I was alive for three of all
Yeah.
three. I was like one or something when the Gators won the first
Hmm.
one, and then I watched both the other ones. Ohio State, Oklahoma, underdogs in both of them, won in both of them.
Okay. On, on a real note, though, like, who is your theme song?
No,
Like,
it's
who do you think
100%
that's?
Rocky Top. It is
Oh,
100% Rocky Top because Rocky Top it just works so well, especially like
yeah.
it's an actual song. It's not just like a
Hmm.
beat. You can sing
Yeah.
along to it. And like it's just no, it's Rocky Top. It's 100% Rocky
Mm.
Top. Even as a Gators fan, I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucking Rocky Top.
Hey, I appreciate that. All y'all Gator fans in the comments down below, watching this video, whatever, don't be biased. Just give in a little bit. It's not gonna hurt you.
No,
You're not converting over to the orange and white. You're
you guys
not.
had good players who went in the draft, and I'm like excited to see them play, like Hendon
Yeah.
Hooker,
Oh
Jalen
yeah.
White. I am super stoked to see Jalen White on the Giants this year. He's gonna be awesome. He's gonna do great this year on them.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I hate Tennessee. I hate Florida State. I hate Georgia. I hate them all. I hate Alabama
Yeah.
too. Ooh, like, ooh, I hate them. So yeah, I'm as a Gators fan. I'm gonna say Rocky Top. It's probably the best. It's the easiest one to just sing along to. I've been to UT campus a couple times. It's fun. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
Especially
So
when they're winning and whenever they're losing, you don't want to go up there. But uh, yeah, a good little conversation with that about the theme song of college football. But we'll go and transition. We haven't talked about a lot this year about college basketball, more so college football since it's in season. But will John Calipari leave Kentucky if they underperform again this season? Do you think that they make a deep run in March Madness this year, or do you think that they underperform again and Coach is gone?
me personally, I think he's gone. I do not think he's staying. I think he's done. I just don't see it. I think this is his
Hmm.
last year, and I think he's already prepared for it to be his last year. Which is not a bad thing. Coaches transition. It's just part of the job,
Hmm.
and a lot of people are like crazy about that. But that is part of it. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It is just a simple piece of knowledge about teams. Coaches will have to move on, and like even if they're
Mhm.
good, like sometimes you'll keep a coach forever. Like Belichick. Look at Belichick or Saban. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like certain coaches will stay, but like everyone eventually, like your office coordinators will get better jobs and better
Yeah.
offers, and as head coach, and they're going to go, and that's fine. That's good for them to do. And I just think his time in Kentucky has come to an end. It's simply that. It's not necessarily a really bad thing. It's just it's time for them to go separate ways.
I was watching this on ESPN the other day. So Coach Calipari was saying that this year he's felt something different about the team, like the aura surrounding them. So this year he said something along the lines of they haven't had a true, big center or rim protector in years to really help anchor the defense. So they've got two 7-footers, one 7'2". I'm not sure how tall the other one is, but he was saying how the continuity of the players is looking about a lot better this year. And he said whenever he's had successful teams in the tournament, there's usually a good amount of vets mixed in with young players that mesh well together. So he says he's got that this year, but I mean, we'll wait and see. But honestly, man, if you think about it, when's the last time Kentucky basketball has struck fear into your heart that, oh yes, this team is going to win the championship?
Never.
Last time I can remember was when they had John Wall and Anthony Davis, Boogie Cousins back
Yeah.
years ago. All three of those, you know. But now, man, it's
John.
you get the
John.
John Wall, hit the John. But yeah, back then they had Anthony Davis, like he said, was a great rim protector, force to be reckoned with down low. But now they don't really strike fear into you as a contender in the March Madness. But
I
who
think the
knows? I mean, they
playing
could,
is part of his job.
yeah. I
So
mean, they could make a run this year. But I don't know, man. I don't really see a lot of players on that roster right now that you know stands out. So.
So, as a UNC fan and living in this area, I deal with a lot of Kentucky fans. And
Mhm.
like growing up, I was like, man, shut up. Like, you don't like talk to me when you guys win championships with us. All right, like just
Yeah.
calm down. Like you're good. You're good now for once. All right, calm down about it.
Mhm.
And look where they are now. UNC
Exactly.
was in the championship game last year.
Mm.
Where was Kentucky? Oh wait.
This brings me to my next point. Do you miss the old rivalry of North Carolina and Duke? Coach K and Rory Williams, the battles were legendary and iconic. I want to know your thoughts since you're a Carolina boy.
As a Carolina boy, I have to be real with you. I miss like how intense the rivalry was as a kid. When I was growing up, man, it was like when I lived in North Carolina. You want to talk about how rough that rivalry was there? Like get on the school bus and people repping different like repping the USC and the other ones repping Drake. I don't Drake Duke. My bad. And fuck, I'm spilling
Yeah.
words right now. Anyways, but yeah, like and like they would like if UNC won or if Duke won, like they were giving each other crap all
Mm.
on the bus ride the whole way, all day during school, everything. So it was huge, and it was
Oh
great to
yeah.
get to see that and like really be a part of it. But not like that's I miss how big of a rivalry. I think rivalries have toned down heavily. They are not what they used to
Mm.
be.
I agree. I feel like the field of competition in college basketball has evened out to the point where anybody can win. So you don't have those super teams or super teams. You don't have those blue bloods winning every year anymore. Like the Kentuckys, the Kansas, the North Carolina Duke. You've got, I mean, there was in the Final Four, three out of the four teams were not even projected to make it past the second round. So I mean, that might make it more interesting, but at the same time, you got those diehard teams, those schools that you root for, and you love those rivalries like back in the day with Christian Laettner and Duke versus Carolina, and
Mm-hmm.
it just spills into tradition, and that takes I feel like it takes away from that. So whenever you're witnessing a North Carolina Duke battle, you're tuning in because you know the history and you know the significance of that. But whenever there's not players or the coaches involved that used to be, it kind of devalues it a little bit for me, but um, I still love to watch those battles because it's usually pretty good games, and hopefully in the near future it'll get back to where it was because I miss those days of when they were just gnawing, going back and forth at each other.
They've been rivalries for 20 years, like since
Mm-hmm.
1920. So, like, I mean, that included. So it's been over a 100-year rivalry.
100 years, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it just, I don't think it's as rivalry as it used to be. It's not as like, is it as
Not as
exciting as it
intense.
was? Yeah. And
Yeah,
I miss
yeah.
that. Like, bring that back. Part of that is
Hmm.
NIL deals, but I don't want to talk about that
Well,
now.
I think another impact of it is they're both going to have to get back to winning and winning at a high level.
Yeah.
I mean, over the last 2 to 3 years, maybe even a little bit more, um, those programs have not really both been at the top of the college basketball scene. So they're kind of falling back down a little bit, which is very surprising and unheard of. You got Duke and North Carolina that are always the kings of the court. So whenever they're not, it's shocking. And whenever they do start to do better, both of them are going to benefit with ticket sales, with interest from social media. So it's good for both universities, I feel like,
I think
whenever
it
they're
benefits.
both good. Yeah.
No, it benefits both heavily. I miss the intensity. I don't think really, I just don't think it's that intense anymore, and that's
Yeah.
like saddens me because I love the rivalry. I love the trash talk,
Mhm.
all of it. So
Yeah.
it definitely is down compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, that's for
Hopefully,
sure.
hopefully it gets sparked up.
College basketball, I love it, man. March Madness is probably my favorite uh just playoff environment,
Oh yeah,
like out of any sport because it's intense and the last second buzzer beaters are it's just it releases that dopamine in your brain. It's just like whoo. But so transitioning to the NFL.
Okay.
What or who is the most underrated running back of all time in the NFL? What is your pick?
So I had to look into this when you talked about it. I'm like, like, did I watch him? Like, what was
Mhm.
it? The guy that I'm going with on this was Wilbert Montgomery for the Eagles. He played for the
Okay.
Eagles back in the '70s when they couldn't really get a pass game going because their offense was awful.
Hmm.
And he was a three-time 1,000-yard rusher for him. So I think he really helped him in the '70s. And I mean, and one of their only Super Bowl berths in 1980, he was there for him and helped them. So that's who I'm going with on this list. I think that
Wow.
he's the one that really helped them out.
That's awesome. I'll have to check into him. I've really heard about him. But that's pretty cool. Uh, but mine is a little bit more current. They're not active players, but I remember watching both of these players. I've got two. Um, I'll barely mention the first one. This is kind of the honorable mention too. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis of the Cincinnati Bengals running back. So a lot of people may not know who he is. Pretty underrated back. He was so serviceable for that Cincinnati offense when it was for you kids. It was before Joe Burrow, before the gritting with Jamar Chase. It was before Andy Dalton. It was the Ben Jarvis Green Ellis show. So people need to, put some respect on his name. But at the end of the day, that is not my selection. That's just a little shout out for him, little honorable mention. My pick here is you've probably heard of this player. He he retired with the Steelers, but he played most of his career in Carolina. D'Angelo Williams.
Oh, I forgot about D'Angelo Williams. Okay, when he was in
Yeah.
Carolina, I hated playing against him.
He was a force to be reckoned with. So underrated, underappreciated. I loved watching that man run the ball. He just ran with pure force, and his ability on the field was like none other. He in 20, let's see, in 2009, he had over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. But 2008, the previous year, he had 273 carries, which is quite a bit. But he had 1,515 yards for 18 touchdowns. 18
Whew,
touchdowns. People do not realize that.
18
I mean,
touchdowns.
back in the day, it was a ground and pound type of play where, now it's going to be more aerial. It's going to be through the passing game. The running backs are not used as they used to be in the past, but nonetheless, this is a very high mark that few running backs ever hit. Like over 15 touchdowns in a year, I would say only 5% of NFL players could hit that mark or less. So I feel like he's very, undervalued as a player, his whole career. Um, very slept on, very good player. And I think a lot of people, should look up his highlights and respect him a little bit more. Because a lot of those underrated guys are, whenever they're in their best peak, you enjoy them, but they're easy to forget about at times if you don't think about them. So, D'Angelo Williams, career stats, real quick before we move on.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
Barely
I'm
over,
excited.
barely over 8,000 yards rushing, but nonetheless still impressive. 61 all-time touchdowns on the ground. Pretty impressive. I enjoyed watching him as a kid growing up, enjoying the NFL. From a young age, he was very inspirational. I mean, not a lot of people probably watched him and enjoyed his game, but I surely did, man. It was D'Angelo Williams. It was great.
I did not enjoy his game. We played him twice a year when he was in Carolina. Okay, they had this
Yeah,
other running back too. I can't remember his name, but D'Angelo Williams, I remember. They're like a little like thunder and lightning duo
yeah,
in the backfield.
yeah.
And he was. I remember watching him when, and it's a game where Chris Sims, his spleen, like
Mm.
busted. Finished the game, and then went to the hospital next door afterwards and got checked out. But yeah, finished the game with like it was like like a busted spleen or something, or appendix or something. I don't know, something like that. But it was crazy. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Like,
And in 2015, he had 11 touchdowns and 907 yards on the ground for the Steelers. So that was the season prior before he retired. So he still had some gas in his tank whenever he was towards the end of his career. Not a lot of people can say that as a running back in the league. But another thing that stood out to me was like he he just had those like pink dreads. Like he had a black and pink dreads, man. Whenever he'd run, I could see that on the field as a kid. And I was like, yo, that's cool. That's what's up. But he was just a fun personality, a genuine guy, and really cool player to watch on the field. So that would be my pick for one of the most underrated backs in the NFL. Leave your comments down below who you think is the most underrated back. If we forgot about him, let us know. But D'Angelo Williams is my pick, and the stash, he enjoys his 70s running backs. So there you
Hey,
go.
hey, you said like when you tell me this, I think all time. I think who is
Yeah.
the
I
best
mean, yeah,
best.
exactly. No, more power to you. That was a good selection. I like that. So we'll move on to TJ Hawkinson. Have you heard about the contract? He was pushing for the last 3 weeks to reset the market at the tight end position. I know in training camp he had been saying, "Oh, I've got an ear infection. My equilibrium is off balance. I can't play. I can't practice." Blah blah blah. He was just wanting that dough. He was wanting that money. I know it, and I'm pretty sure now he's probably feeling a lot better. But so right now he's going to get paid annually $17.1 million per year base salary. So it's barely over Darren Waller's 17 million a year with the Giants, but he has reset the market as the highest tight end in the NFL. But I know Travis Kelsey, he hears this and he's like, when am I gonna get mine? Because I'm the best tight end in the league, you know. So I feel like Hawkinson, from his point of view, it's like I'm a top five tight end. I deserve my money, and I am very important to this team, and I contribute a lot. So he's got leverage, contract year. So I, I applaud the Vikings for bringing him back, but we'll see if it's worth it.
I think it was a good sign. He's the third best tight end in the
Mm.
league.
Yeah, well, I agree
Maybe
with that. I think
fourth, around there.
third or
We'll
fourth, yeah. I think you got, Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, right around there.
forgot. You said Kittle?
Yeah,
Okay, I was making sure. I'm like, you did say Kittle, right? Okay.
yeah. I would,
Um,
s- I would put Waller behind him.
See, Waller's the guy I've got like right there, quote unquote, with him.
Yeah,
If Waller's on the field and stays healthy, and don't forget Mark Andrews. I do think Hawkinson's better, but
yeah.
Mark
I
Andrews
mentioned
is
him.
right there too. I don't worry about Kansas City like with the Chiefs with Kelsey
Mhm.
really for a deal because the dude's 33.
Yeah,
So you got to take that into consideration too. He's 33 years old.
that's true.
Like
Very
Gronk was
true.
like 36 when he retired.
Mm,
Like when he retired the second time.
yeah.
So, so you got to
I
take
mean,
it. Yeah.
he deserves the bag, but Minnesota, they're the new GM's a little frugal and stingy about his money to star players. So I was kind of leery about that at first. I was like, nah, is he gonna give Hawkinson the bag or is he gonna let him walk, next year? But they better be getting ready because they've got to pay Justin Jefferson next offseason.
You know he's going to be the highest paid wide receiver in
So,
the league.
oh yeah. So we'll be watching that
I wouldn't
closely.
be surprised if he signs $100 million deal.
hmm I could see that. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and move on. So who had the better one season in college football? Baker Mayfield or Johnny Football himself, Johnny Manziel? I'll go ahead and start this conversation off, Stash. I'll kind of spill into some statistics for everyone watching this. So Johnny Manziel, in his freshman season at Texas A&M, 47 total touchdowns. He had 21 on the ground rushing, and he had 1,400 rushing yards with 3,706 passing yards. Pretty good. I would say really good for a freshman, true freshman. Baker, on the other hand, had 46 total touchdowns. He only had 300 rushing yards, but he had right at 1,000 more passing yards, 4,627 passing yards. But Johnny had right at 1,000 more rushing yards and had one more touchdown than Baker. So statistically, very close. For me, I look like it as this. Johnny Football, I'm gonna give the slight edge to him. They both have Heisman's. They both have Heisman's. Johnny Manziel has a Heisman Trophy. So does Baker Mayfield. But the thing that separates him apart is winning the Heisman as a freshman. I don't think people realize how hard that is. An 18, 19-year-old kid winning the Heisman Trophy against grown men that are 22, 23 years old, playing against them. That is absurd. And he had the whole Johnny Manziel, Johnny Money Football going for him. Um, swagger on the field, and I don't know if anyone's watched the documentary about Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel on Netflix yet, but you need to check it out, The Untold Story. Basically, they went into signing autographs before NIL was a thing, you know, and they made 30 grand off each trip they would make to sign, autographs. And they got busted, but the reasoning behind it was they just, their parents have oil money. So they did not look into it and they just continued doing it. And he only got suspended for like half a quarter or half a, you know, I think one half of a game. And he could have lost his whole eligibility, and that would have messed up his whole Heisman campaign. But he only got suspended for that one half game, so that kind of bailed him out. But a lot of people, I don't know why he does that, but that is the reasoning behind the Money Manziel. So that is my selection. What about you?
So I'm gonna go with Johnny Manziel.
Mm,
I don't think we'll ever see another Johnny Manziel
mm,
ever. Like it was crazy. It came out of nowhere. Like before Johnny Manziel, the guy that had won a Heisman, the youngest was like Tebow when he was a sophomore.
mm.
That was it.
Yeah,
Uh, maybe it was maybe Jameis Winston. He was a red shirt, I think, red shirt.
mm,
So he wouldn't have been a freshman either. So yeah, he's the first true freshman.
yeah.
So yeah, I go with Johnny on that because Johnny had an incredible like that first year was nuts.
It was
His
insane. And he had the whole country just looking at him. I don't think any players had that besides maybe Tebow. Um, but he had the whole entire country just focused on his life and just football ability. And he was hanging out partying with LeBron James and all sorts of celebrities at a young age. And that took I guarantee you that took a toll on him pressure wise, probably filled him with a lot of anxiety and stress. So that's probably why he didn't pan out in the league. Maybe work ethic wasn't there, but I think that's probably, one of the reasons why he did not pan out in the league. But he had one of the best collegiate careers of all time at A&M. So
oh man, insane,
yeah, so we'll go
fantastic.
ahead. Yeah, we'll go ahead and move on. Ironic, but who is the biggest bust in NFL history? Who do you think it is?
My biggest buzz. Ooh, there's been a lot of them, JT. There's been a lot.
Hmm.
Mine is the one that I'm gonna go with one since you want to talk about these guys who are like you see instead of just all time. I'm gonna go with the guy I saw that I think was the biggest bust of all time,
Hmm.
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah,
Dude, number
he
one
was.
pick. Everyone expected him to be the next great thing,
Mm,
the next thing that like absolutely shocked the world. He was not that.
mm-mm.
He was out of the league in 3 years. That's how bad he was.
Yeah. He watched zero tape. He was not into it. But yeah, people, I think the coach sent him a blank tape and he was wondering like how much of the tape have you watched? And he's like, yeah, man, I watched it. I watched it, and, the coach knew he was lying because he sent him a blank recording or whatever of the stuff he was supposed to watch because they questioned his work ethic and like his ability to, take this seriously as a job in the NFL. But my selection as the biggest bust in NFL history, kind of ironic, we just talked about him. Johnny Manziel, I
That's
think is the
fair.
biggest bust in NFL history because you have all this hype in college. You're going into it as one of the highest prospects sought after in the NFL. They question his work ethic, his ability to lead a team. They question his passion for the game, all these other stuff. But his talent was like none other. The dual threat on the ground while throwing the ball in the air. A lot of teams coveted that and wanted that on their team, but it just did not pan out for him. He just
Mm.
lost interest in the game, and I think the stress with the pressure just did not mold him into the guy that was able to perform at a high level in the league, and that's pretty unfortunate and sad for him because he had all the talent in the world.
It really did.
If he would have went to a different team or organization, maybe things worked out differently. But that's my biggest bust in the NFL.
It's not a bad one though.
Yeah.
I think Jamarcus Russell was probably a little worse, but like, no, I agree. Baker,
Mm,
we were talking about Johnny versus Baker. Baker is still in the league technically.
yeah, that is true. That is true.
I had a guy tell me he thinks Baker Mayfield's going to win comeback player of the year this year.
Oof, I don't know about that. We'll see. We
Hey,
will
hey,
see.
hold up. Before you say anything like that, no, we did not. None of us were expecting Geno to get comeback player of the year last year.
That is true, but his supporting cast was a lot better than Baker's currently.
What do you mean by that? What's better?
Oh, their defense looks a little bit better. I
That's
mean,
fair.
they
I'll give you
got
that. I'll give you their
yeah.
defense.
Tyler Lockett, DK. I mean,
Mike Evans,
eh,
Chris Godwin, Russell Gage.
they have the rookie running back last year.
That's fair.
Uh,
I'll give you him. That's fair. I'll give you
yeah,
him.
he was pretty big for him. So, but
I'll give
yeah,
you.
I don't know, man.
Geno's also better.
What?
Geno's also better.
Gino, yeah, he is, but I don't know. Kenneth Walker was the running back for Seattle's
Yeah.
then, but um, it'll be close. I think. I mean, Tampa's living or dying by Baker this year, so we'll see how it goes. But who do you miss watching more, Prime Cam or Prime Mike Vick in
Prime
the
Mike
NFL?
Vick. Prime Mike Vick. Prime Mike Vick. 100%. 100 times. 100 times yes. I will keep. I will. Just not even a debate up for discussion anymore. Like you said, Michael Vick versus anybody who I miss watching. Michael Vick, and that's coming from a Tampa fan who he played against for majority of his
Mm.
career. He was absolutely like phenomenal to watch.
I
Like
mean, yeah,
Mike Vick is like the Allen Iverson of the NFL.
mm.
Like that's the
They,
best way to describe it.
yeah, they both changed the game. I mean, for generations who looked up to them. But Mike Vick. I mean, they literally made a commercial of him. I don't know if you saw it or not, but like him and like a video, like he was like flipping in like a video game, like alternate like reality, virtual reality or whatever.
Mhm.
And the kids were going crazy in the commercial. But I don't remember the name of it, but I remember seeing that years ago whenever it first came out. Um, but I personally am going with Cam Newton
Really?
because you know what he did that Mike Vick didn't do?
What?
Superman, and he did the dab too. He did that little celebration in the end zone. But I mean, he has more all-time rushing touchdowns than Mike Vick. I feel like he was a better pocket passer than Mike Vick. I feel like I mean, he took his team farther than Mike Vick ever did. So
That's
those
true.
reasons alone, I'm taking Cam Newton. I feel like he was a better leader than Mike Vick. I feel like,
I was actually agree with
um,
you.
but Mike Vick, his career was cut short due to the dog incident. But uh, I don't know. I feel like his prime could have been better than Cam's if he'd have, not gotten in trouble. But Cam has the MVP,
That's
so
fair.
that's another point I add to mine.
Does Vic not have an MVP?
I don't believe so. So Michael Vick does not have an MVP.
He doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I was making sure. I could actually could not remember if he actually had an MVP or not.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. Mike Vick was so elusive on the ground. I mean, it was fun to watch his highlights, but uh, I don't know. I feel like Cam Newton had the bigger impact and the bigger, uh, he had a bigger impact at the end of the day. He led a Panthers team to the Super Bowl that had no business going there. I mean, whenever he first came in the league, he had to, he had weapons. He had Greg Olson, um, but he didn't really have a whole lot. He had Kelvin Benjamin. That defense was really good though. That kept them in a lot of games and carried them to the Super Bowl. Um, but if it wasn't without Cam, they wouldn't be put in that position. Is my argument. But I think Cam ultimately, keeping this short, is the better quarterback all time and showcased it through not only his production on the field, but through his impact through the countrywide. Like all eyes was on him. Same with Mike Vick, but I feel like the attention through like social media, just different celebrations copied after him, kids looked up to him. I feel like was a little bit more than what Mike Vick's impact was.
I'm just talking about on the field ability. That's all I miss. Like, no, Cam's the
Mm,
better quarterback all time. That's not a discussion.
yeah.
But who I miss, man, going against Michael Vick in '05, you just
Hmm.
like, you just
Yeah.
looked at it like differently. Like, you were scared. We're like, oh man, we're playing the Falcons this week. We're playing against Vick.
Yeah. And this is all personal opinion based. Like, it's not who is better. It's just like, who do you miss more?
I
I
miss
mean,
Vick.
that's valid. I mean, I could see either way.
Vick's more of my childhood.
Yeah, and Cam's more mine, so it's like,
Cam,
I wasn't a really small kid, but I was like 14, so I mean, I
Cam
looked up
I
to,
was an adult when Cam was playing,
mm, yeah.
so
But
like
I
it's
mean,
different.
Cam Newton the big body quarterback running over people, Superman Cam. I mean, he was everything. So, uh, his career was awesome whenever he was at his peak. But I mean, both got derailed, Cam by injury and Vic by dog incidents. So. Both were tremendous quarterbacks whenever they were on the field, and I think we should appreciate both in each manner.
I like it.
But that wraps up everything today, folks. Appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been a great episode with the Thunder Sports Pod. Hope you leave a comment, sub if you haven't already, drop a like. Check out our TikTok account, same handle, Thunder Sports Pod. But so we'll go ahead and head out. But it's been a pleasure for everybody watching this. It's JT.
Always.
We're out.
And the stash, baby. We out, baby. Woo!